Stream will begin shortly. Please stand by. Alrighty, so let's start and get the stream on a roll. Waiting for, so honestly I completely forgot to start up my studio, so at this point all I'm doing is I'm just waiting for studio to load in. Why is the music so loud? What the heck? Get over here. You can't be this loud. Do you guys still hear the music? Greetings, Edith. Oop, there we go. Looks like the studio has finally loaded in. Ah, yuck. Okay. That's that. Okay, so sort of as a recap of what we did last time, we refactored the previous developer's code to open up the play and the shop. Barely. We refactored the code to essentially make these buttons work. So now the menu opens up like this, and we have it swipe across the screen now. So first of all, what we're probably going to be doing this time around is we're going to be programming this menu. So that's going to be the first thing that we're going to be doing. So let's get right into it. So first of all, barely audible. Okay, let me fix that right quick. I'm hoping that that is a little bit better, so you should be able to hear the music and my voice. The music should not be drowning out the voice in your head. Haha. Okay. So first things first, we need to figure out what exactly the hierarchy of that GUI looks like. So it is going to be the play menu. So let's hide home for now. And let's show play. So the way play is set up is we have a UI aspect ratio constraint, which right now doesn't seem to be doing a lot besides making sure that the UI size stays consistent with the size of the viewport. Negative, that is not area 14 v2, this is Site-17 revamp. So we have info here, that is probably not going to be something we're going to touch. And because we're not going to touch, typically what I do for UI is I preface it with an underscore that just sort of goes to show that we're not going to touch it. As you just said, right now I'm currently not working on Area 14 at all because I'm focusing entirely on this project. As soon as this project is done, I'm going to be taking a little bit of a break from development, and then once I get, once I do that, I am going to be resuming. Well, actually, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I guess that depends on what Itamar says I'll be doing. So, we have the description. We have the buy button. Okay. So we have a general idea of what all of this looks like. Okay, so the description is definitely going to change. So the title is... Okay, so the title itself is not going to change because that's just going to say description at all times. The description itself is going to be changed depending on what the actual team you select. The buy button is going to change, but the buy button itself is not going to be. But we have the... Is this a text button? Yeah, this is a text button, so that is going to be changed. Karma's going to be gone. Everything will fall apart. I certainly hope not. I certainly hope that even if I were to leave, everything would not fall apart, because that would be pretty bad. So we have quite a few that are selected. I want to see what the difference is. Okay, so the difference is, or seems to be, the icon in the back for the most part. Hi, Masez. Welcome to the stream. So, the difference here is, so we have the title. Title is the same. We have the selected icon, which is not present in here. And then we have the amount. So what I am actually going to do is I am going to, so right now I'm going to play around with this, see if I can just make this return to looking like it's, well, not selected. So there we go. That's the way it looks. Well, minus the background color. So what we're essentially going to be doing is we are going to be deleting all of these templates. I'm not going to delete them yet because I need the IDs for the renders. But we are going to be, sorry, I'm having a stroke or something. We're going to be using this as a template with all the other stuff disabled. Now, before we can implement that, we are probably going to need to implement some sort of settings for the for this screen here. So we're going to go over to, not here, we're going to go into starter, player source, player scripts, IO controllers. Okay, so here in modules, we are going to be using heck. I'm trying to figure out where I want to essentially put the configs module. So honestly, that will probably be put into shared, and shared is in replicated storage, IRO shared. So in here, we are going to, I think this is under information. What is this? Okay, yeah. So this is essentially where we're going to be placing that script. So, and we can get rid of all of this. And all this is going to do is it's going to return a table. And that table is going to have a bunch of information. And so I'm going to drag that off screen, or rather, no, I'm gonna do what I did yesterday. I'm gonna just plop that into there, so I can see it at the same time. So first of all, so this is going to be our main menu config. That's what we're going to be calling it for now. We can call it later. Site question is Site-17 or Site-19 getting merged with Site-17 revamp? No, it is not. Site-19 needs to die. At least in terms of development, which it is. So first off, let's just name what the teams are called. So we have the, I can't spell as always, administrator. That's gonna create a new table. We have specialized response. I guess we have the administrator again. Okay, hold on. I had a bunch of modules, or I had a module. Team. I think it wasn't Team Service. No. Where the heck is it? Okay, hold on. I know for a fact I had a module that set up the game. Equipment service? No. Farm service? No. Mission service? No, not mission roster. Where the heck is it? Okay, okay. Oh, it's in helpers. Okay, there we go. So here we have a set of different teams that we're going to have. So yes, lo and behold, this is pretty much all the teams that will be present on site, at least currently planned. Uh, Administrator, specialized response, and we're just gonna randomly select two more. So one of them is going to be class D, and let's do security department. So for now, those are going to be our four our four teams that we're going to be using. So first of all, we want to can you turn this into a free VBook no scam glitch? Okay, wait. Oh, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of stuff going on in chat. Okay. Anyone here who has made a threat against Masez? No one. Masez did exactly. I clearly see you threatening him. Above, I regret to inform you Alpha 1 operatives have been dispatched to terminate you. Good day. Are you winning, son? Hello, CWM. Yes, absolutely. Will SRU be a Game Pass? I don't remember at the moment. Ban him for threatening us with his A1. Karma, can you turn this into a free VBuck no scam glitch? No, because ew. Okay, so first things first, what do we notice? We notice the icon. So let's do, so actually even just for team selection. Yeah, so icon, I'm gonna use lowercase, icon equals, and then let's find out what the icon for that team is. So, start a GUI, which is the template, so there's the template for that, and then the render, and of course I got rid of properties, because why wouldn't I? Can I somehow, hey, there we go. And the render icon for that is that. So, now we can close that. Okay, second thing, we probably want the description. So let's go ahead and set description equals, and we'll just set an arbitrary one for now. So the administrator team, Itamar Big Stoop. There, fantastic, love it. Specialized response. So now we just sort of clone that. So we have icon. We find whatever icon, so that's template selected. Or what is the icon? Oh, that's the icon. Okay. Doesn't matter. Actually, yeah. Let's change that to render. So instead of icon, we're using render, and then description equals. Not me doing that. Oh, that's probably under the description here. Description here is that doot. Class D, render equals, and then we'll just use this placeholder that we're using for the administration team for now. Equals class D team. Chewy, please one VBuck. I took mom's credit card. I can give you it. Is the TA disc really going to be in the game? If it is, you funny. I mean, I can absolutely make it that way. I don't know if Itamar will go and change it. So yeah, I have no problem. What if you need to keybind to copy assets for meshes, decals, etc.? I actually kind of already did that for materials. So if I hide this, so I have a plugin here that I use to copy over materials. So if I press Control Alt C on this material here for the roll cage, and I, for example, select this entire material or this entire model here and press Control Alt V, it'll change everything to have that same material. And by material, it includes transparency, the actual material, the color, what have you. So there is that. So that is in fact a thing. Um, Other than that, meh. No, make it Itamar, big noob. I'm going to bed. Alright, see you later, Howling. Um, Security department, render equals, and then, oh god, it's all the way back up here. Okay. Template. There we go. There's the template. We grab the render from here, stuff it in here, and then description. This is the Oreo team. Have fun killing everything in sight. Yes, I mean something for the asset ID of a specific item, like using a keybind with an audio selected would copy its audio ID. I mean, not a bad idea. So when I'm going to be taking a break, one of my pet projects is in fact to remake that plugin to make it more customizable for the for whoever's using it. So that is definitely a functionality that I will be adding. Problem with that though is I'm kind of worried about people getting confused on how to use it properly, because oh hey, it's a sound. Do I just copy the sound, or do I, for example, copy the name as well, even if I'm changing only the ID? Or do I change the volume? Do I change this property? Do I change that property? It's that sort of thing. So most likely I will just be I'll just be making it customizable enough where if you want to have a certain functionality, you'll be able to implement that functionality or get a scripter to implement it for you. Okay, so we have our main menu config. This is going to be I wanted to apply the changes, but I guess not. This is going to be our essentially properties function for, or properties document for all of these. So now, technically speaking, we can just get rid of all these, and it should work just fine. So, I'm honestly not sure that I like the way that this is working. I think I might get rid of the UI list layout, and I would probably implement my own system here. Actually, maybe not. We'll see. Okay, so now we have this template selected. So in fact, we're just going to rename that template. We have the title. We have the icon. Oh, wait, I'm going to undo getting rid of all those templates because I actually need to grab the background color for them. So I can set it here. So, okay, so one of the things, so I think it's high time that we actually create the control, or oh wait, we already have the controller. That's literally what we were doing all of yesterday, or the 2 hours that we worked on it yesterday. So config variables. Let's create a couple more variables. So first things first, let's drag this over into here. Maybe there we go. So now we can edit it in the same location. So if we go back to wherever the GUI is. Okay. Oh, geez, what's happening? That was concerning. Okay. So let's do team's default background color equals, and then color 3 dot from RGB, and then for the template selected, or default color is going to be this color right here, and then team's selected background color equals color 3 from RGB, and we grab template selected and put it in there. So now we have, I think, everything that we need for that. So now we can delete these templates. we can take the icon. The icon is already transparent, which we just did. Selected is now going to be not visible again. So let's do selected icon, background icon, render title. Where's the line? Let me double check something. Okay, so the line is supposed to, you know what? That's it. I'm moving everything except for one because we need to keep it there. Why does that, why is that a click button? Why is not? Okay, so, bit of a, so we're gonna end up playing around with the UI a little bit. Instead of everything being like this, we are actually going to turn this entire frame into a button using code, because why not? We can absolutely do that. Yeah. So fun fact, this does not, like, you don't need to have a text button for it to act as a button. That is a common misconception, and it's honestly sometimes even better to not use a button because they can be a little bit broken. So let's go ahead and pull out something that I don't get to use often. It's called Quenty's Class Converter plugin. It's a little bit buggy, which is why I'm going to clone this template to make sure that we don't accidentally break something. So we're going to select this click. We're going to convert it to a text label instead. And then we're going to hope it doesn't break everything. So there we go. It is now a text label. So we can get rid of the other thing that we deleted. And now we have this. So now instead of having to click on this specific button here, we're going to be able to click on this entire icon. So that is kind of nice. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're gonna rename this as template instead. And we're gonna rename this template old. And we are going to make the default template. We're not gonna make it here. In the start function, temporarily, we are going to make we're gonna make both the template and the template old invisible. So make template and template old invis. And then we're gonna do, so here we have we have created some variables for home and default. We have yet to create any variables for play. So local play equals hub dot play. So now we go play dot main dot list dot template dot visible equals false. Play dot main dot list dot template old dot visible equals false. So now once we run this, both of these should become invisible. So now next, we are going to essentially create a private class. Now, object-oriented people who have done Java or anything else for that matter, in object-oriented will probably know what this is. But I'm essentially going, so here we are essentially treating main UI controller as an object. So what we're going to do is we're also going to create another object. Now I typically don't do this inside of the same module. I typically prefer to do it in a different module. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna do that because who knows? Maybe we might need to use this in another module. So let's go ahead and create that. So we go to controllers, modules. There we go. There's a module. We're gonna insert a new module there. And we're just going to start copying over the different format. So we're going to call this UI button class. And today is most certainly not the 22nd, it's the 23rd of February 2021. Provides class for creating buttons out of non-text button UI elements. Bit of a mouthful, but it's fine. So we're just gonna copy that. And so, somewhere up here, we're going to do local UI button class equals new table. Then down here, we're going to be returning UI button class. Hello, Ufus. Sort of as I said yesterday, I'm not at liberty to discuss, but it is, I assure you, it is enough. So, local. Actually, I don't think we even need anything for now. So first off, let's create the constructor. So function UI button class dot new. So first of all, we want to pass in whatever element we want to turn into a button. So UI element, and then second, for now, we are going to do I'm trying to. I know what I want this variable to do. I'm just thinking of the name that I want this variable to have. Click effect, and click effect is going to be false by default. This is another weird thing that you can do with Lua. So essentially, click effect is click effect, but if click effect is nil, or if it's not passed in, then it will default to false. Once again, I can also do something like this, in which case it will default to true. So, local self equals set meta table empty array, because we don't really have anything to inherit from. And then we're going to do u underscore index equals UI button class. Now, just a personal suggestion. Don't try and understand this, because honestly, this is just a way of implementing object-oriented in Lua this is the only way to implement object-oriented into Lua, and it's kind of stupid. And at the end of it, we return self. And of course, I, as always, cannot spell. So, what sort of properties do we want to have? So, first of all, we want to have self dot click effect speed. Once again, right now, doesn't matter what this is. I will show you what that is later. I don't want to put semicolon there because Lua doesn't use semicolons. And then we, as for object-oriented always we want to have a dot object property, which just points back to the object that was passed in. So there's our basic one, or basic description of that. So, and then I'm going to go to our good old friendo Professor Google, and I'm going to go Roblox UI element. And as you can see, it's sort of popping up because I have done, or I think it's GUI element. GUI object. Okay, there we go. So, oh god. Okay, not going to do that. So what we're going to be relying here is we're going to be relying on a certain event that happens, and that event is mouse enter. So this one right here, mouse leave, and input began. So essentially, we're going to create a variable here. So local is in element, And this is not going to be accessible through through the object. It's just going to be something that's stored in here. And by default, we're gonna well, set it to default to false. So it is not inside the element, or the value is going to say whatever is supposed to be inside the element. It's not in the element. So next, another thing that I sort of add typically is self.connections equals empty array. Now for this case, I don't think we will need this. It's still really good practice to have it though. So now is where the interesting stuff begins. So self dot connections dot mouse enter equals UI element dot, heck, let me edit, mouse enter double dot connect function. There we go. So that is our event for the mouse entering. And all we're going to do here is in element equals true. So if you haven't figured it out yet, the is in element variable says whether or not the mouse is inside the UI element. So dot connections dot mouse leave equals UI element dot mouse leave colon connect function. Heck. Is in element equals false. There's that. Self dot connections dot input began equals UI element dot input began colon connect function. And then for input began, typically what's passed in is the actual input type, or a dictionary that has everything that you need to know about the input. So, the reason I'm doing this, by the way, is essentially it's stored in self.connections is an array, is a dictionary. So me doing this essentially stores a callback to here, to this function, or specifically to this signal here. So if I really needed to, I could iterate through this table and just disconnect all of these events. Now, this will most likely not be necessary because we're not really doing anything that requires us disconnecting these elements, but it is still, once again, good practice. Nifline asks, what is after scripting main UI? Morphs? Morphs are actually already done, so no. But once again, not at liberty to say at the current time. So first things first for input began. Now first of all, is the mouse even inside the object? Because if the mouse is not inside the object, we know for a fact that the object has not been clicked. So if not mouse or is in element, then return end. And yeah, that's just saying, oh hey, if the mouse is not in the element, then return end. That's that. Second thing, inputs can exist of many different types. So there can be a mouse primary click, there can be a mouse secondary click, there can be keyboard inputs. So for this specifically, we're going to be using mouse 1. So first of all, if input dot user input type equals enum dot user input type dot mouse button 1, then it'll run whatever happens in this if statement. And this is where we're gonna do our mouse button effect and what we're gonna do with our mouse functions. So yes, functions. So what we're essentially going to be doing is we are going to be assigning a God, how do I put this? What? No. So there's not gonna you're not gonna be able to trigger multiple functions from this. We're gonna make it easy. We're gonna say, oh hey, this UI button class can only be connected to one function. So self dot in fact, actually no, we're gonna make this a public function instead of a variable. So function UI button class colon connect input began equal, or and that's gonna be a function. And yeah, there's that. So here we're actually going to create a actually no. So we are going to be creating a function. Heck. Okay, whatever, doesn't matter. So we're gonna say input began funct or function, whatever, and we're gonna set that to null by default. For now, this may change later. For now, we don't really need a input ended function, so we're just gonna keep it like this, because no need to script something that we won't need later. So here for input user input type dot so if so the mouse function is going to be if self dot input began function. So if the function exists, then it's going to call that function. And for now, we don't know what sort of properties are needed in here, so we're just going to leave that empty. And we'll leave the mouse button effects for a little bit later, once we actually get this functionality up and running. So now, if we can get this to cooperate with us, which would be really, really cool, but I don't think that's gonna happen because Roblox is being dumb again. Oh, for God's sakes. One sec, I'm gonna temporarily deconstruct literally everything. There we go, and then we're gonna put explore on top, I guess. This pisses me off a little bit. Okay. Please, Roblox, can you cooperate with me? No? Screw you. Okay. Okay. So we're just gonna get rid of properties for now because we don't really need it. So, so if you go to play, template is here. Oh, we're and of course the second I got rid of the properties, we actually need it. Template old. There's the background color, and we're actually gonna copy that over to the new template. Huh. Okay, so selected needs to be set to false. And where is the line? The line is here, but why can't I see it? Either that or I'm just straight up blind. Yeah, line is right. There should be right there. Oh, I guess it just disappears. Okay, that's cool too. Thanks, Roblox. Okay. So because the screen will not God, I don't know what's happening today. I don't understand what's happening with me today. I don't know why I'm being so slow. Okay, in the start function, let's go ahead and just initialize all of those buttons. So here we're going to do Initialize for, or do we want to put it in initialization? Okay. No. Somewhere way to initialize, we actually want to put in the actual initialization function. So local template here. Initialize play buttons in menu. So local template button equals, no, just template equals play dot main dot list dot template. Okay. Now, we are going to. No, we can't do that here because this framework is stupid. Okay, so here we actually need to add a new dependency, and that new dependency is going to be our main menu config. So local main menu config. So that's going to be declared here, but it's only going to be initialized down here. So main menu config is in our shared directory, if I'm correct. Yeah, so it's right there. So main menu config is equal to self dot shared dot information dot main menu config. So there's our config. It's gonna require it here. And here we're actually going to initialize the play buttons in the menu, which is a little bit counterintuitive, I know, but this is one of the reasons I hate this framework so much. We want to, so a table, so we can iterate through it. So for, and then we're gonna say title, data, or title is going to be lowercase because it's a string, and data is going to be a lowercase because it's a table of various different types of well, information. Something is happening to the stream's bitrate. Can anybody confirm that you guys are still seeing it pretty well on your end? Yeah, bitrate just dropped to like 61 kilobytes per second. What the heck is happening? Okay, for title data in pairs, main menu config do. So then I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna pull it off to the side so I can actually see it while I'm programming. I can't pull that off, of course. Okay, you know what? That's it. I don't care. I'm just gonna have it here above everything. So, in data pairs, and then I realized why this isn't gonna work. Oh. That'll certainly work. Studio finally decided to cooperate with me. Yay. Okay, initialize plain button and menu. So we're going to do, so first things first, we're going to be editing the render. Did that not get renamed? I could have sworn I renamed that. Okay, render icon. I misspelled it. Selected icon. background icon. Then team title. Okay, yeah, that looks good. Okay, so we are going to local team team selection equals template clone. For this team selection, we are going to set team selection dot team title dot team title dot name dot text equals title. Line should also be of size 0, by the way. Or for now, we're just going to set its background transparency to 1. Team selection dot team title dot name dot text is equal to title. We are going to set team selection dot background icon dot image equals data dot render, and then we are going to set. Actually, no, we're not going to set anything for that. Oh, one thing I forgot. Team selection dot name we're going to set to the actual title. So it's going to be renamed essentially, and we can use that later to get even more information. So selected icon amount, we're not going to worry about those for now because that'll go more into gameplay. And then of course, as the last thing that we do, we're going to say team selection dot parent equals play dot main dot list. So that should create all of our teams. So if I go into playtest mode now, I forgot to reset the UI, but that should be fine. You will likely see that that everything is properly rendered. Okay, so I made a mistake here. So that is on line 190. Oh, because I had this capitalized. I also just remembered that that is in fact a problem that we need to also address. We need to actually set this thing to be visible. Team selection dot visible equals true. That's like a French spelling of true. And yet another problem. Okay. Attempt to index string with text. What do you mean? Oh, we can't call it name because that's a actual property of that. So team title dot, instead of name, we're gonna call it team name. There we go. Team name dot text. There we go. Not to be confused with the actual name property of that object. No, for God's sakes. Okay. String expected got nil. Line 206. Icon.image, data.render. Oh, I forgot. So the data. Wait, no. Hold on, what the heck? $206. Oh, it's this background icon. Oh, it's supposed to be, first of all, it's supposed to be render icon. Second of all, image. String expected got nil. Why was it nil? So it's iterating through main menu config. Okay, let's just print title and data. Maybe we can get to the bottom of it. What in the world? What is the underscore events? What? I know why. It's because this framework is... Okay, so the way that essentially this framework injects stuff into this module, so we're gonna have to do if Roblox would cooperate, that would be great. It's just not cooperating one moment. There we go. Data equals, and then we're sort of nesting that in there. So now we're, instead of iterating through main menu.config, we're iterating through main menu config.data. Hey, there we go. So we have security department, we have class D, we have the administrator, and we have specialized response unit. Okay, brilliant. So we can get rid of that print statement there. Which will get rid of these stupid print statements down here. Okay, now we actually want to attach the button class that we created for it. So, yeah, so essentially here now we're going to be doing local team selection button equals, and here's where we need to import yet another dependency, which is going to be the little module that we created, which I guess I never renamed, which is UI button class. So we're gonna put that here, UI button class. UI button class equals self dot modules dot UI button class. And here we're going to say, oh hey, self dot input began function equals, or no, sorry, here we're going to do UI button class dot new, and we're going to pass in this team selection object, and we're going to pass in true for this specific scenario. local, or sorry, no. Now we have the team selection button. Dot input began function equals. And we're gonna create a new function here that calls. For now, let's just create a temporary function called function do nothing. Print hi. Actually, here we're actually going to pass in self. So here we're going to call do nothing, and we're going to be passing in self. And here, instead of doing nothing, we're going to be printing out the name of the button that we click. So self.object.name. So cool. Let's go ahead and test it. Okay, so attempt to index nil with mouse center. Brilliant. What is wrong here? 51. Oh, I forgot. I called it connection, not connections. Okay. And try to. Okay, so these are created. So if I click here, nothing happens. If I click on this, for example, it prints out something. It's just not what I was looking for. Okay, attempted to index nil with name. Okay. Oh, that's because that's self. Ha. There we go. Team selection button. Okay, so now if we click on this, interesting how it's not working for this. I wonder why. Okay, now it's working. Why is it not working? Oh, okay. So the reason it's not working is because this icon is actually overlapping on top of this. So when we try and click the icon, nothing happens, predictably. And if we click here where there's nothing, there's white space, it'll work. So if I click on here, for example, I think, or here, no? Yeah, so if, intriguing. I wonder why it's not letting me click there. That's why. That's because it's a stupid image button. Okay. Image button needs to be gone. It's not supposed to be an image button, so we're gonna pull out our trusty Quenty's class converter, and we are going to convert this image. So first of all, we're gonna make sure that we can actually see that. Or no, sorry, not in this case. Or sorry, this case, but Roblox is really irritating me right now. Image transparency. There's nothing. Oh, we disabled visibility. That's why. Yeah. So for this, I'm gonna make sure that it's partially visible. We're We're going to change this to image label instead. We're going to convert it and hope nothing breaks. Fantastic, nothing broke. Let's do the same thing for the render icon. Let's hope nothing breaks. Nothing broke. Fantastic. Okay. So selected icon is that. Background icon is now going to become non-visible again. So we can put this tool away. And now it should hopefully register my clicks everywhere on the button, not just in the places that, well, are this background area. So let's try that out. Oh, heck. Okay. Just hit me that I forgot to delete one of the templates. So I need to go back and delete that. Heck. So there goes that. Okay. So now when we click on the security department, it works. Fantastic. We will click on Class D. Class D. Administrator. Do 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 do. Okay, cool. Everything works properly. Cool. So, we have finally detected that a button is being one of these is being clicked. What next? So, I'm glad you asked. Ooh, why did this go all the way up here? Okay. So one of the things that I want to go in here and change is I want to make sure that this clips descendants. Once again, I'm going to show why in a little bit. Okay, and it does clip descendants. Fantastic. So, now we got to make sure that everything is properly being selected. So first things first, we're going to create a new function called local function unselect all buttons, or specifically unselect all play buttons. And that is essentially going to go through our list and is going to reset every single button to its default state. So, and to do that, so for underscore button or selection in pairs play dot main dot list get children. First things first, we gotta make sure that that whatever we're selecting is actually a we gotta make sure that it's actually a button. So like for example that it's not a UI list layout, because that would break it. So if selection or specifically here, oh crap, what did I do? Zoomed out. If selection is not a frame, or wait, is this a GUI object? Let's find out. Print instance dot new UI list layout, yeah, is a GUI object, and false. So UI list layout, despite being something that modifies GUI object, is not in fact a GUI object. So this works. So if not selection is a GUI object, then continue end. So continue will just say, oh hey, if it's not a selection, if it's not a GUI object, then just like go on to the next iteration of the loop. So if not selection is a GUI object, then continue end. So first things first, it is going to set the background icon visibility to false. So selection dot background icon dot visible equals false. Render icon is going to remain the same. Selected icon is also going to go false. So selection dot background selection icon dot visible equals false. Another thing it's going to do is it's going to set the frame selection dot color. I think it's color, not color 3, right? No, it's background color 3. Okay. Dot background color 3 equals, and we had team's default background color. And it's just gonna set those properties to be whatever. And then finally, we're going to do local function select play button. Oh, function select. Which then function may be? Play team button. I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of tempted to separate this stuff for this specific screen into a separate module. Just because I'm starting to see a problem with how I'm naming stuff. But for now, let's just keep it like this. We can always transfer to a different module later, or I can do that off camera. So local select play team button. So first of all, we're going to unselect all play buttons, and then we're going to go through the motions of selecting the one that, well, is supposed to be selected. So one of the things that we're going to be passing in is we're going to be passing in the selection name. So now we're going to find local target selection equals play.main.list colon find first child. Or actually, I don't think we even need find first child. We can just do, yeah, name. There we go. So target selection is that. So what we want to change. So first of all, we want to change the background color. So target selection dot background color 3 equals select team selected background color. Target selection dot background icon equals visible equals true. Selection dot selection icon dot visible equals true. So now we gotta make sure that's target selection, not just selection. Dot visible. Okay, so there's our basic implementation of that. We're also going to add another config variable or MISC variable that is called local current team selection, and we're gonna set that to null by default. Or no, we're gonna set that to class D by default. Or no. Haha. Foundation personnel by default. So now over here, instead of doing this, we are going to say, oh hey, we're going to do select play team button, and we're going to pass in the name of this, which is going to be team selection button dot object dot or wait, do we even need to do that? No, we can just do team selection dot team selection. I swear to God. Team selection dot name. There we go. So now, once we run this, it should allow us to select whatever team we want to. Now, of course, this is not the end-all, do-all. We still have plenty of functionality to implement, both in terms of actual functionality and also in terms of what's its face, in terms of looks. So right now we have nothing selected. If I press Class D, it errors out. Haha, fantastic. Selection icon is not a valid member of frame. Hub play main was template. Why is that firing? 174. Oh, you know what? I know what I'm gonna do regarding that. So initialize. So here we make these guys invisible. Oh, you know what? Better idea. Delete template and template old. So instead of just making these invisible, we're just gonna straight up delete them. So play dot main dot. Screw it, I'm just copying this over. Destroy. Destroy. So long. And we can get rid of that now. So let's try that again. Destroy. Okay, so no errors right off the bat. That's a good sign. And that is a bad sign. Selection icon is not a valid member of frame. Okay, what is... Oh, selected icon. Whoops. So all the way up here. Select ed icon. Hello? There we go. Selected icon. Play again. So let's click on this. Hey, there you go. Fantastic. So that is now essentially, well, allowing us to select whatever we want, right? And then if I do that, click on something else, click on something over here, and that can still select stuff. And because we're not resetting it every single time we're going out of here, it will essentially save the data there. So that's pretty good. So what can we do to make this better? Well, for one, we can do tweening. So our favorite tweening thing. So instead of outright setting this to this color, we're going to opt for using a tween instead. So TS. So first of all, yeah, so we're just going to do TS, create selection tween info.new. We're going to say for unselecting everything, it's going to take 0.5 seconds. And background color 3 equals team's default selection background color. And we're going to immediately play it. And we're not going to block. So now we can get rid of this, and it should theoretically work right off the bat. Assuming Roblox doesn't save in the middle of me doing it! Okay. Similarly, we want to make sure that when we're selecting something, it'll tween into that color. So TS, create, target selection, tween info.new. And for this, we're actually going to have it take a little bit longer. And then we're going to open up our dictionary, and background color 3 equals team selected background color. And we're going to immediately play that with no blocking. So let's see what that looks like now. What do my resources look like right now? Why is everything being so? Okay, so memory is being used a decent amount. How much is Roblox eating? I mean, it's not using that much. Okay, looking good. However, I do have a, so it's sort of in the same similar idea. I'm having a problem with not necessarily this checkmark here appearing, but I'm having a problem with this background image just, you know, sort of snapping into existence. So we're gonna go back and adjust that as well. So now instead of this background icon being invisible, so we're gonna toggle visibility on that. But instead, we're going to set the image transparency to 1. So remember, image transparency by default is 0.9. So here, we're going to do another tween. So ts create selection dot background icon tween info dot new 0.5. Create a new dictionary and image transparency equals 0.9, and we're going to immediately play it. And we can now get rid of this. And then we're going to do, or sorry, no, here is going to be 1. Here is going to be 0.9. So here it is going to be 0.9, and here is going to be target selection dot background icon. So once again, play it, see how it looks. Oh god, what is my stream right now? Why didn't anybody tell me that my bitrate was being so trash? Or, wait. Oh, never mind, it's just my thing automatically setting it to 144p for whatever reason. Never mind, it's fine. Okay. And yeah, no, don't even worry about it. I'm certainly not. So, and of course the objective here is to try and break it as much as possible now. People with auto clickers are going to say this is breakable, and quite frankly, I don't know if it is. For now though, like this is good. And I mean, if people want to break it on their end, who am I to say no to them? Okay, yeah, so that works good. That works good. If you dislike it goes to 0, lol. Maybe. That would be ouch. Okay. So we have that. So okay, so stuff is working pretty darn well, let's say. So next thing that we need to do is we actually need to change the description because that has been left fairly neglected so far. So for select play button, I'm going to go ahead and so for unselect, I'm going to go ahead and just clear that description. So if we open that up, description. So play.main.description.text equals no text. And then for this, it's going to be that same thing, except it's going to be for main UI config. I'm actually going to go ahead and do this, because otherwise it's complete stupidity. There's no reason it should be implemented that way. I mean, I wish I did not have to go to bed so I could watch. I mean, you can watch in bed. Yeah, no, I absolutely understand that. It's a school day. But thankfully, all of these streams are recorded on YouTube. So if you ever feel like you wanna watch it again, you can always just go back and watch it. Now I understand that it's not the same as being here in person. It almost never is, but sometimes you gotta make do. Yeah, so there's my little bit of karma wisdom. Main menu kek equal to main menu config, and then selection name dot description. So now when we select the individual teams, it should properly populate the description. Okay, now one thing I'm not quite liking is the fact that this text changes sizes. That's probably because the text is scaled. I don't know how. I don't think that'll be that much of a problem in the future. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sorry. Okay. So now we are going to, so I kept saying that, oh hey, we're going to use this property, oh hey, we're going to use this property. We're actually now going to use this property. So the property in question here, of course, is the click effect. So if click effect, then what are we going to do here? Now, some of you may have seen the occasional, oh hey, if you click on a button, there's this little circle that starts where your cursor is, and it sort of expands outward, filling the entire button. We're gonna do that, and I'm gonna somewhat, sort of try and teach you how to do that. For now, though, so first things first, I have in my decal somewhere. I've already done this multiple times, so I have a decal somewhere that I have created in order to be used for this specific purpose. Now the question is, can I find it? And as you can see, I was playing around with the new custom materials quite a while ago, actually, when it was still in beta. So it's been a hot second since I've done anything with that. I mean, even if I can't find it, I can just create a new one from scratch. Caution texture, brick texture, gear, play hour, shake my head, IA shrub, buy icon, square icon, buy icon. Button. Is this what I'm looking for? I don't think it is. Let's just let that load in. More buttons, button. More caution. What is this? What in the world is this? Hold on. Let me just casually. Oh, come on. Are you really going to do this again, Roblox? I hate that so much. Okay. Image label. We're going to set the background transparency to 1. We're going to set the image to be this. Yeah, no, that's definitely not the button texture that we're looking for. Oh, okay, stuff finally decided to start loading in again. Thanks. Panic button, CI logo. Don't worry about those guys. They were not okay. Yep, still at it. Trying to find a very specific texture, which I guess I just don't have anymore. Or I do have it, I just couldn't find it for some reason. Oh, selection circle. I think that's it. Is that it? Please be it. Yeah! Okay, cool. So that's it. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and hard code that into here. Oh, actually no, not even into there. Into here. So local selection circle button effect circle. No, just button effect. ID equals that. So what we are essentially going to do, so this is going to get a dependency called gutils, so local gutils, and gutils is just, it stands for literally general utilities. Function UI button class colon init, and it's going to retrieve those, so gut equals self dot, I think that's shared. Yeah, self dot shared dot helpers dot gutils. Cool. So we are going to right here, so local selection or effect equals gutils dot retrieve. It's going to retrieve a quick effect. Actually, no, we're not going to use gutils. Screw it. No point. So here, we're going to instead create instance.new image label effect dot. Then we're going to look at the image labels that we have access to, render icon. We're going to set the background transparency to 1. We're going to select the effect dot image equals that, so button effect ID. And then we are going to make it super small. So effect dot image or dot size equals udim2.new 0, 0, 0, 0. So and also we're going to, so for a value of 1 is drawn first while higher values are drawn in ascending order. So we are also going to do something, so we're, oh god, effect.zindex. Its index is going to be pretty big. It's going to be negative 100, so it should show up as literally the first thing. How bad is it lagging? How bad is the stream lagging? because my bitrate seems to be okay. The bitrate is jumping around a little bit, and by a little bit I mean a lot. Is it better now? Okay, I'm gonna assume that it is. And then finally, we're going to set the effect.parent to um, self.object. So that is going to be our parent, and the parent should have cutoff enabled. So, and we're also going to go into config variables and say local button max or effect max size equals 10, for example. Also local effect start transparency equals 0.5, for example. So for that, we're going to set effect dot image transparency equals effect start transparency. I'm actually going to move it over here so that it's closer by the image definition. Okay, so mouse effect is started. So let's also say local effect duration, and we'll set that to something like 0.1 because it's not supposed to be a massive, like a long effect. It's supposed to be something that's relatively short. So we're going to go up here. We're going to define Tween Service. So local TS equals game get service Tween Service. So TS create. We're going to pass the effect in as the first thing. We're going to create a new tween info, and we're going to use the effect duration as the time for which this should, well, last. Inside of here, we are going to set image transparency to 1 because we want it to be 1 at the very end. And then we are also going to set its size to be, well, essentially 10. Or, sorry, no, 10 is probably very small. Let's set that to more like 200. So size, so we're going to go udim2 dot new 0 effect max size 0 EMS effect max size, and we're gonna play that. But wait, you say, Karma, you haven't actually set the position. Like, you know, when you click on a thing, when you click on here, it should be spawning the effect here. You are right. I have not done that, and I need to honestly remember how I did that. So, what in the world? Thanks, Roblox. So let's go back to our GUI object, which I actually apparently haven't closed yet. So, input began. Okay, input is passed in. Let's find out what sort of information is passed back. Okay. Positional value of this input. Okay. This might work. So, here, let's go ahead and do print input dot position. Okay. And we're gonna play it. Okay, lag is passed. Okay, so it seems like this, so it seems like the position, so it's returning a vector 3 position, first of all. However, as you will notice, Z is always set to 0. That is because, in reality, this thing is actually passing, it is returning us the position on the screen, not the position in 3D space. So we are absolutely going to use that. So it is passing in the absolute position relative to the screen, and position 0, 0 is all the way up here in the top left corner. So local click position x equals input dot position dot x. Local click position y equals input dot position dot y. Now another thing that you may have noticed is that this effect does not last long enough, so let's bump that up to a full 1.0. And yeah, let's keep that at that. So it did appear over everything, I think. So let's see where that does that. So next thing that we want to do here is we want to set the effect dot position. Now, just so the problem with that is that every single element ever in Roblox has a property that is called absolute position. Problem is, it is a read-only property. You cannot change it. So you cannot set the absolute position of a UI object. So essentially what that means is that we have to do a bit of math. So we're going to go local, and then we're going to say relative position x t on x. Not going to misspell it again, guys. And then I'm going to take so I'm going to take the maximum versus the minimum, or minus the minimum. So the maximum in this case is going to be the x position, the place where I clicked. And then the minimum is going to be the position of the element that I'm clicking. So in this case, that is the object. It is going to be the UI element. Element dot absolute position dot x. And then same thing, relative position y is going to be the largest value, which is the place where I click. So click position y minus UI element dot absolute position dot y. Now we're just gonna set the effect dot position. Since we're using relative, we can just use pixels. So equals udim2 dot new. Scale is going to be 0. I'm going to put relative position x. Scale for y is also 0. Relative position y. And ideally, this should now work. Also, let's get rid of that. Image label. We don't need it there. How many viewers do I have right now? Okay, 4 viewers. Very nice. Okay, now you can see that this thing is properly sort of moving with the position of my cursor. Problem is, it is using the top left corner of that circle as sort of the base, which is not a good thing. So the way that we fix that is we set the anchor position. And if I recall correctly, I think the anchor point is a udim. No, you know what? It's a vector 2. So, yeah, so effect dot anchor point equals vector2 dot new. 0.5, 0.5, because we want the anchor point to be essentially in the middle. And once again, I've noticed that the effect max size is not quite big enough, so let's up that to, honestly, let's go for a full 1,000. Let's see what that looks like. So let's try that out now. Look at that! Now, my only problem is that it's not above the render. So that's kind of a problem. So let's play around and see what we can figure out with that. So we're going to go back into our template, and we're just going to create a image label inside of it. So how do we make this thing above the render? So first of all, render icon is at index 2. So the image label ideally should be above it, but for some reason it's not. So style. Okay, so not that. What have I done? Something weird, that's for sure. Okay, layout order, parent, rotation, selectable size constraint. None of that seems to do a whole lot. Oh, you know what? Let me guess it's under that. Yeah, it's under that. What if I put render icon inside of another frame? So, if I add another frame, and I go to render icon and I copy over the position data, and I'm also going to set the background transparency to 1 because no need for it to be anything other than that. So it's now the same size of the frame. So if we now go to render icon and we drag it into frame, what in tarnation is happening? Oh, there we go. Oh god, okay, nope. And then we're just gonna adjust its position to be 0, 0, 0, 0. And for size, we're gonna set it to 1, 0, 1, 0. So, and for some reason, the image label is still not on top of it. Oh yeah, it is. It takes, as you've seen, it takes a lot of just repetition and checking if everything looks correct, if everything is working properly. UI is typically not something I do. I have the skill set, of course, but yeah, it's not something I overly enjoy, I'd say. Yeah, I'm not sure why the image label is still not on top of it. Like if we set to -1,000 or 10,000, it still doesn't do anything. Now out of curiosity, let's see what happens if I set it to global. Okay, everything breaks. Let's not do that. So yeah, I mean, I guess it looks like we were just gonna have to live with it, cause I don't know. I don't design UIs typically. I don't work with them very often, so I'm not sure. Maybe I'm missing something. So I'm just gonna undo everything I've done so far in regards to that. There we go. So it's back. We're just gonna have to live with it. It's fine. It happens. So yeah, just sort of to refresh what that looks like, I'm gonna go in game and test it again. And of course, make sure I didn't break anything in the process of doing and then undoing, then redoing. So that still works, and of course, if I press it a bunch of times, it's gonna show that icon or that circle multiple times. I think it's more than I think it's good though. Like it looks pretty decent. Now the only problem, and if you see it, is up here. Despite the fact that there's a rounded corners thing going on here, if it starts out in the corner, you will see that it does sharpen to a point. But typically, that's one of the things that developers try and sort of hide. Um, by the time it reaches that corner, it's typically more than transparent enough to sort of be not visible. Um, Translation to gold seems a little slow. I mean, I can certainly boost it up. One thing though is effect start transparency. I'm actually going to boost that up, so it's going to be at a 0.8 transparency, actually 0.8. In regards to the transition to gold, yeah. So for the UI is the person who made it was specifically hired by Itamar to make UI and nothing else. So I'd say they were probably fairly talented. um, okay, unselect play buttons. Oh, why is that 0.5? That's supposed to be 1. Okay, so seems a little slow. Okay, so let's take that down a bit, and let's also take this down a bit as well, sort of in that same fashion. So let's see what that looks like. Okay. Okay. I do agree that, or one interesting effect actually, because we have now select, like, because of how fast the sort of the circle comes out, it makes it almost look like it's the one that's causing these things to become gold. Like if you don't pay attention to it, it almost looks like it. I think that's a pretty cool effect. Okay. Yeah, that is mesmerizing. Love it. Wait a sec, I just noticed. Why did it not? Why did the two things on the side not slide in? That seems kind of sus. Oh, it's because we made home invisible. That's why. Okay, never mind. It's good. Okay, so, um, now of course, the next thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that when we click these buttons, they cause this thing to sort of move over. So the way we are going to do that, hmm. So right now, the list is just a normal frame. My thinking is going into, so I'm thinking, what if instead of a frame, this becomes a scroll frame? Because scroll frames can scroll sideways. I'm pretty sure. Should be a property called scroll direction. Pretty sure? Maybe? What if this canvas size here is... Oh, okay, so we can set the vertical scroll to be essentially 0 in terms of canvas size. We can also, so the other thing we can do... Ooh, wait, there's a thing called automatic canvas size? Interesting! I don't think this was a thing before. For scroll bar image transparency, we set that to 1 because realistically, so typically the scroll bar allows you to sort of scroll using your mouse wheel. We don't want that to happen, so we are going to be manually implementing the scrolling. So we're going to take list, we're going to copy over the position into scroll frame, which honestly is already there. We're going to copy over the size into the scroll frame. And that is pretty much all we have to do for that. So now we should be able to just copy over this into here. Intriguing. What if we set automatic canvas size? Okay. What if when you select the team, the render gets bigger or something? That is a good idea, actually. However, the problem here is that right now, not all the renders are exactly the same size. So this one, for example, the head is already clipping through the top. So having it increase even more, it would like the face would probably vanish. Now, granted, I'm fully in control of how much it'll scroll, but still, that's still kind of the point. Okay, wait. How does this look when it's in here? And now these two have switched places. Nice. Okay, so it becomes slightly small. Oh, you know what? I know why. Because the scroll bar is in setting. Vertical scroll bar in set. Horizontal scroll bar in set. Always none. Scroll bar thickness is going to be 0. There we go. Okay. There we go. Now, if we copy this over to the actual list, yeah, no change whatsoever. So now we can get rid of the list, and we can rename this to list. So our scroll frame has essentially replaced our previous frame. Had to do a bit of manual work there, but it's completely fine. It's to be expected. So I'm just going to go in here to test, make sure that me scrolling the mouse wheel will not cause this thing to scroll. Okay, so it is causing it to scroll for some reason. So that is not an okay behavior. So we need to figure out what is causing that and how we disable it. So if I go back to the list, I think I just forgot to disable. Yeah, scrolling enabled. There we go, false. So now it should work properly. I hope. So now if I thick. These guys do be dummy thick now. Okay, Oh no. Okay. So I think that's probably because the automatic size is set so wonkily. Or yeah, because the automatic canvas size is set in such a weird manner. So what we're gonna do for that instead. So we're gonna look at the UI list layout. UI list layout is 0.004 on both sides. So essentially, if we take a look at the template, the absolute position of template on the x-axis is 66.951. The absolute size of that is going to be 404.213. So we add those two together, we get 471.164, and we look at the next one, and we look at where that starts, and then we subtract. So 477.881 minus whatever we got previously, and for some reason it gives us a total of 6.717. Oh, it's because it's the scale. Um. Okay. So by default, the size is set to that. Why? What if I? Okay, so I'm gonna temporarily set it back to automatic size. I'm gonna undo everything. Okay, so that's what the automatic size looked like. If I copy over the UI aspect constraint into template, it does a weird. Set it to 2, 1.5, maybe? Yeah, that looks about right. And now, if I set the list to non-automatic canvas size, that should remain the same. Okay, cool. So we're just gonna copy over UI aspect ratio constraint into the other template. Not that we really need to, just so that it properly works. Okay. Oh, I should probably remove the calculator from my lap. So, okay. So we have disabled the automatic canvas size, which means that we now have to manually set the canvas size, which is completely okay. Just making sure it's not gonna still look wonky as all heck. Okay, yeah, no, it looks fine. Or so it seems anyway. Yeah, so and then UI list layout is 0.04, and it is fantastic. Okay. So the way we're gonna do this, I think. So first of all, in main UI controller, we are going to initialize the left and right buttons for these two things. As soon as Roblox finishes auto-saving and apparently deselects what I was selecting. Initialize play button move play screen arrow buttons. So, and then we have the buttons is literally called left and right. So, local left button or left arrow button equals new or equals UI button class dot new. And then and we're passing in the thing. So play dot left, and we're gonna enable true on the thing, on the effect. And then same way, local right arrow button equals UI button class dot new play dot right true. Okay, so we have those two. So and then up here we're going to go local function move play canvas right. And then similarly, local function move play canvas left. And then just for my own personal OCD reasons, I'm going to switch those two. So then we have left arrow button dot input began function equals function. Or here we can actually directly set it to, oh hey, we want it to move play canvas left. And left or right arrow button dot input began function equals move play canvas right. There we go. Nothing in comments, it seems, or in chat. Okay, so there we go. We created those two buttons. Now we gotta actually we gotta implement the functionality of moving the canvas left and right. So we're gonna go back to our list. Oh, one thing I completely forgot. After we have created all of these, buttons, we need to. Oh God. We need to somehow figure out the total canvas size. So, initialize place button in the menu, and then somewhere between this and this, we need to set play canvas size. Honestly, Dr. Badbrain, you're kind of not wrong. One moment. I'm not even gonna pause the stream. Give me like 2 seconds. There we go. Much better. Hi, Adamar. Oh boy. Now you're making me worried. Now I gotta look in the RP server too. Okay. Okay. Apparently I got tags and unrelated. Hold on. I must investigate this. Oh, it's nothing relevant to this stream. Never mind. Okay. Oh yeah, and hi, Itamar. So we need to somehow figure out the size of the canvas. Or do we? How large is the template by default? Template size, I think. Yeah, so we can't rely off of the size here because the X size is restricted by UI aspect ratio constraint. So we're gonna have to use absolute size here instead. What a tarnation. I thought I heard a knock on the wall. Okay, so over here we are going to start trying to figure out the canvas size. I don't think we need to be too pedantic about the size. I think we could honestly just say, oh hey, canvas size can be, honestly I think for canvas size, we can literally just set the canvas size to be something like 10. Okay, that's not gonna work. It's never easy, is it? Karma's voices make their debut to the stream chat. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not entirely sure what that means. So essentially now, because of that specific problem, we either have to set the padding here to be not 0.004. Don't worry about it. So we either have to keep it like this and do some magic with scripting, or we have to set an actual offset. Now, out of curiosity, I want to figure out what sort of offset this is. So if I set this to 0, it's going to be like that. Okay, so it's about 4 pixels, which is to be expected, I guess. And if I do this, that size seemingly increases, so it's no longer to scale. I think it's completely fine though, to be honest. So let's take a look at what this looks like on mobile devices. So first of all, King IPD lead moderator. Yeah, I think you're the only one. Oh hey, it's Special Forest. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, so I'm going through all of these different devices, and for the most part, honestly, just having it set to 4 pixels by default, I mean, it makes it look slightly different, but it honestly looks completely fine. And also we have this one that is literally no reason to exist. It's cut off though. It's literally it's like 50 pixels by 50 pixels. It's not okay. And then widescreen. Yeah. So I'm honestly just gonna go ahead and say it doesn't matter, and I'm gonna keep the offset as at a preset size of literally just 4 pixels. So that eliminates a whole lot of math that we need to do. And especially it's going pretty well. I'm making pretty decent progress, I think. So we no longer have to set the canvas size. You know what? Now that the offset is actually a set number, we can actually implement the canvas size. So we're no longer going to do this manually. So in response to that, we are going to take a look at, so essentially what we're going to do. Oh no, we can't set the canvas size because because in every single time that the window is resized, we would need to recalculate that. Yeah, no. So I'm just gonna go ahead and set that to something I'm going to set the canvas size to something completely obscene, which honestly will probably not be ever used in the entirety of. We're going to set that to 20. And I don't think that breaks anything. We're going to check it out just in case, so we're going to pull out the emulator again. Make sure that it doesn't look completely outlandish. Well, I mean, to be fair, anything on mobile looks completely outlandish, so can't do much there. Yes, that was a jibe at mobile users. I really don't like developing Roblox for mobile. Okay, cool. So it looks completely fine, so we're good. So yeah, that's just gonna be a set value of 20, and it's never, that entire area is never gonna be used up fully. And sort of for our God, why does Roblox do this? Whenever a script window is detached. No, don't do that. Whenever a script window is detached, like on a different screen, or not even on a different screen, but just detached, period, it just it stops working essentially. Like it starts lagging to the point where it becomes unusable. So let's do station personnel, and we're just gonna use the same stuff for administrator and just change the description a little bit. Foundation personnel team, let's do stuff. Let's do another one. Let's do mobile task force. Or here, not even mobile task force. Let's do chaos insurgency. And then we're gonna copy over the administrator as well. Or here for foundation personnel, we're gonna copy over the render from class D, which I guess is the same render. Okay. Chaos insurgency. Okay, just for a little bit of a variation, we're gonna use the SRU one. So help breach stuff and get big Bobucks. Okay. Okay. How long till Itamar leaks something? On a scale of 1 to 10, what is the chance Itamar leaks the site? I wish I had, I mean, let's be honest, at this point it's pretty much guaranteed. Itamar, please cease leaking stuff. I beg of you. I wish I had a screen that big. I'm stuck with my Properties Explorer and basically every other window combined in one spot. Yeah. Yeah, definitely, if you want to, if you want to move into, any sort of digital design or, development, I would definitely look into investing into a second screen, because in having a second screen or even a third screen, like I'm trying to get a third screen, just massively boosts productivity, because yeah, you can look at so much stuff at the same time. So I'm actually gonna get rid of this. So, just by creating these, it should automatically create the little selection things. So now all we have to do is actually implement these two functions. So move canvas left and move canvas left and move canvas right. So the way we're gonna implement that is we are going to do scroll bar position, I think it's called. Transparency direction scrolling enabled. Inset. Yeah, there we go. Canvas position. So X and Y. And I think position is in pixels. Yeah, so if we take the absolute position of that template there, so that's the SRU template. Stop showing that stupid screen. Jeez. Absolute size is currently 148.5 about. So that's going to be 148.477 plus the 4 pixel space that we have for the padding. So that should set it to a canvas position of 152.477. And that did not do that. Okay, so something else is going on then. Because the so the absolute size of this. Oh, it's 248.477, not 148. So that is going to be 252. Yeah, there we go. So now that lines up. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so now we know exactly what to use. Interesting. I just noticed a small detail I didn't notice before. No worries though. So now we are going to implement a new sort of index or a new music variable that is called play canvas index, and that is going to be set to 0 by default. Pubis, oh, wrong channel. Whoops, lol. Okay. If I had a second screen, I would just use it for Discord. My issue is having a 12-inch. Yeah, that'll definitely do it. That's ouch. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for that. And King IPD, I'm waiting for the day you step up and remove a leak. I don't have the I physically do not have the power to do that. Like I can't delete his messages if he posts them in notices or in announcements. So the most I can do is sort of yell at him to either not do it in the first place or to remove a leak. But obviously, if he once he leaks something, it's already out there. There's no getting it back. Oh, haha, I misspelled it. Whoa, why did you select the entire thing? There we go. So play canvas index is set to 1 or set to 0 by default. So that move play canvas or that play canvas index is essentially going to be a number that we use to define how many it's going to be used to define how many God, it's sort of a multiplier that we're going to be using in order to figure out how far the player can scroll. So for okay, and then in the same stride, I guess. Cac. Okay. Hold on. Sorry, I'm just thinking about several different problems that could occur from me doing this. For example, one sec. Let me double check this. So if I have this and I scale it, or if I scale this here, the absolute position, yeah, the absolute size changes. So okay, so let's say that we have the list and we move it to so the absolute size of that or of the template right now is 174.036. Now if we add the 4 pixels, it's going to be 178.036. So if we go to list and we go to set the canvas position right here. So if we set it to 178.036, it's going to hide that. But the second that we start doing this, it's gonna show it up again. So that's the thing that I just realized, and that's sort of why I went silent. Because that is a fairly significant issue. Um, hmm. Yeah, that's something that isn't really fixable using. Yeah, so I guess we just have to go back to using frame, because using a scrolling frame just isn't gonna cut it. So I'm just gonna start undoing everything I did for quite a while now. There we go. So now that is, oh boy, okay. So now that is in a list again. So this is now once more a normal frame. With our two little templates here, and yeah, so most likely we're gonna have to remove UI list layout, and we're just going to have to manually implement that, unfortunately. So yeah, that is that. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're going to go into this freaking window again. Like, I don't know if you guys can see how much it's lagging. Like, it's actually kind of insane. Okay, so index equals 0. My calculator is right where my mouse typically is, so I start grabbing the calculator. Index equals 1. Actually, index equals... Sorry, that was me sneezing. Index equals 3. Index equals 4. Index equals 5. I think Omar should only be allowed on the Class C team until he stops leaking things. Eh. Okay. So now we're gonna have to do a bit more work for initializing the play buttons and menu, because now, so essentially we're gonna be removing the UI list layout here, which means that we are going to have to be manually implementing the positioning for these two things. Why is this set all the way over here? Why is the position here? Okay, so that position is going to be 0 by default. And same thing for template old. I don't know why its position is set in such an odd manner. Okay, so they are now in the same location. I'm going to add a new config variable that is called local. Oh, I should probably set this as a local variable, not a global variable. Ha. Local teams padding equals 4. That's going to be our padding in pixels. So in our setup now, we are going to team selection dot and So we have the index. So we just put the index in. We're going to actually adjust the layout order to be equal to the data.index. Now, obviously, this isn't going to do anything because we're not using layout order, but it's still going to allow us to sort of retrieve the index without having to go through the data table. And now, before we set the parent, we're going to have to essentially calculate the position of each element. And unfortunately, the only way that we're going to be able to pull that off is by using the scale offset value or scale values for position. So, team selection dot position equals udem2 dot new, and we're gonna break this apart into several different things because I don't want to do this all on one line. So the scale is going to be the team selection dot index or layout order, or here I'm going to use data dot index because it's shorter. So we're going to use the data dot index. We're going to multiply it by 0.25. So if the index is 0, the scale is going to also be 0, and if it's 1, then it's going to be 0.25. So essentially, because this is supposed to hold a maximum of 4 values, we're going to make it hold only 4 values, right? Right. Next. Heck. Data.index. So this is the offset now, and we're going to multiply that by 4. So if it's at a position of 0, the index or the offset is also going to be 4. But if it's at position 1, the offset is also going to be 4. I'm not sure we even want that, to be honest with you. Let's see what it looks like without it, and then we can always just adjust it later if needed. And then the size, of course, vertically, or the position vertically is going to be also 0, and the offset vertically is also going to be 0. So that should do it. Let's go ahead and test that out. This is how we solve problems, guys. This is, okay, position is not a valid member of frame chaos insurgency. Why is that not a position? Why is that not a valid member of frame chaos insurgency? Oh, because I misspelled position again. Again. Why is this like the biggest mistake I keep doing? That is, like, I kid you not, that is literally the biggest mistake I've done so far. Or rather, it's the most common mistake. I misspell position for some reason. Okay. Cool. Okay, so it is working. It is working really, really well. Now, my only question is, why do I see this? Because last I seen, the list was supposed to be, it was supposed to cut off elements that don't fit. So let's take a look there. So play description of list. List is supposed to clip descendants. I wonder why that suddenly got disabled. Because I could have sworn that I checked it before and it said it, well, you know, did clip the descendants. Okay, fantastic. Okay, and now the next check, and this is gonna either make or break this theory. Hey, okay. Wait, one moment. Let me try it again, but with it starting out as a smaller size this time, because last time it broke specifically when I made it bigger. Okay, fantastic, it works. And this is specific, like, it's a good thing that we caught that, because otherwise QA would have had to catch that. Okay, so that works. So we don't actually need this offset because it sort of self-moderates um, in terms of off or in terms of padding. Whoops. Let's just get rid of that. Let's fix the formatting a little bit so it's a little bit nicer. Beautiful. Okay, so next. So this is where it gets a little bit sketchy. So essentially now when we move the canvas left or when we move the canvas right, we are going to be incrementing the current index. This one. And actually here. Local play canvas max index. And it's going to be set to 0 by default. So as we're initializing, as we're running through this, we're also going to be checking what the index is. So we're going to say play canvas max index equals math dot max. So it's gonna it's automatically gonna, so it's accepting several arguments and it's returning what is the maximum value out of all of them. And we're going to return itself, play canvas max index, and is going to return the data dot index. So if the data dot index just so happens to be bigger than play canvas max index, it's going to set play canvas max index to data index. So now, when we move the canvas left, all we're going to be doing is we're going to be so first of all, we got to check if we can move the canvas left. So, and the way we do that is we check if the play canvas index is less than play canvas max index minus 4, because let's face, because this can fit 4 elements. Then we do whatever's inside of here. Now, because I like to do this a little bit different, so we wrap this, we invert this, and then when we return, okay, if that condition is satisfied, we increase, or we set the play canvas max index, or play canvas index, to play canvas index plus 1. And then we do some tweening. So for that, I'm going to create another function, local function, adjust play canvas elements. And I'm honestly just going to do this, but I'm going to do that with tweening. So I'm just going to copy this here for the time being. So t for underscore element in pairs play dot main dot list get children do if element if not element is a GUI object, then continue end. So if the element is not a GUI object, then it's going to continue, and then it's going to Tween Service create element tweeninfo.new. Now let's do 0.25 for now. And then it's going to open up this position equals udem2.new data.index times, or here we're actually adjusting the data.index, so we're doing data.index plus the play canvas index times 0.25 and 0, 0, 0. And we're immediately playing it. So, and this is really weird, I know, except here we're not using data index, we're using local element index equals element dot layout order. So that's one of the reasons that I did that thing in the like that you saw me do this previously. So element index plus play canvas index times 0.25, and it'll do that. And I just realized, so for move canvas left, we're actually going to be decreasing the play canvas index by 1. Because by default it's 0, so if it's moving left, then it's subtracting. If it's moving right, then it's, well. And sort of, okay, wait, so in that case, we're going to move this to here. We're going to add it here. Then here we actually need a completely different thing. So if play canvas index is greater than 4, then do whatever's inside. But once again, wrap it, invert it, and then return. Like so. Because play canvas index -1. And then I think all we do is just adjust canvas elements. And same thing here, adjust canvas elements. Okay, let's test it out. Probably not. Jeez, voice crack. Probably not gonna work on the first time, but let's see. Okay. Okay, so for some reason, I don't think these buttons got initialized properly as UI button classes. So let's figure out what's happening there. So move play canvas left, input began function. Input began function, yeah, I mean it seems to be working. Print move canvas left, print move canvas right. Right? Right. Did I do anything weird here? I don't think so. Okay, so that's working, but these buttons, oh, I know why. Let me guess. They're text buttons, aren't they? Or they're image buttons. I'm calling it right now. Ready? Ready? Watch this. They're image buttons! God, I hate image buttons so much sometimes. No, not really. Of course not really. I don't work with UI. I don't work with UI enough to hate them. They're just bringing me some mild agonizing pain right now. Okay. There we go. Okay, yeah, so predictably it oh right, I forgot to enable the thing, didn't I? Okay. So it worked for one thing. Didn't quite work for well, you know, continued. So we're gonna go. Oh, we actually don't need to look in here at all. So one thing that we're gonna do is we are going to have this thing now print the new index. New index. Uh, play canvas index. And we're also going to go into these two buttons. And we are going to make sure that they clip descendants, so that the click action actually looks proper. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. So, okay, so when I clicked that, it said new index is 1. Oh, you know what? I know why. It's because I accidentally flipped these two functions around. So when you click the left arrow, you want to actually move the canvas right, not left. Oops. So that's kind of stupid, but yeah. That's the reason why that broke. Now, my question is, why did everything else break? Like, why did it stop suddenly functioning? So let's take a look. Because you know, you'd think that if I click the other button, it would go back to being just fine. So, okay, so that's just straight up not working for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. So move canvas left. The play canvas index is currently at 0. So if not, oh, oh, okay. I think I do have to switch these two after all. Kek, top kek. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, unfortunately that lets us go a little bit too far. We're not supposed to be quite at index -15. And now a canvas move right doesn't work either. So that's fun. So let's sort of just restart it for now and test the other button, see if that works. So that doesn't work. Interesting. It should allow us to move that way. So we're trying to move canvas right. Okay, I think I just generally got logic wrong. Okay. So we are at index 0. We're trying to move the canvas left, so we're trying to move everything from the right to the left. if the index, so first of all, let's just quickly go into here somewhere, right after here, and just print out max index play canvas max index. So let's just take a look at the output and see what the max index is. So just looking at the main menu config, our max index should end up being 5. Ow. Okay, yeah, so our max index is 5. So let's say we are at, oops, scrolled too far up. Let's say that we are at index 0, right? One sec, I need to grab a piece of paper or something. Because as much as I love talking this out, I typically need to actually look it out. Okay. So we are at index 0. We want to move canvas left. So as a result, index goes down by 1. Right? Right. So index is now -1. And this should be able to continue until you hit you know what? Because of the way Lua works, and because it just makes it easier, I'm just gonna go into, oh my god, Roblox, can you not do that, please? I would love to edit this window when it's not docked to Roblox, please. So I'm just gonna up these by 1. Okay. Or actually, no, cack. So I'm undoing that. Well, hello, Brick 706. I love the fact that YouTube automatically flagged his message, which was "Hey, you stink," and then it didn't. So it hid that message, and then it didn't hide his bye message. So to you guys, it literally just looks like he said it looks like he just said bye. But to me, this is what I'm seeing. These are the types of clowns that exist in this foundation. Like right here. And now he's saying that he's the only person here. No, Chief, you're not. Okay. So we were at index 0, and then we go to index -1, and we want to continue that until. So we end up having a total of 6 elements, right? So maximum index is 5, but we have 6 elements. Hold on. Okay. I'm pulling out paint. Because even so, okay. So we have 6 boxes. I'm going to do my best to draw them more or less the same size. Only 4 are visible at any given time. I'm just going to copy and paste this because this is going somewhere. So when we are looking at these guys at the start, we are looking at exclusively these guys. So, and we also have our indexes inside of here. So this is 0. God, that is not thick enough. I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But as you can see, we have a total of 6 elements. Now, when we are, and index here is equal to 0. So when we are looking at these last 4 elements, index still remain, or the index for the individual elements still remains the same. So here you have 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the difference here is that index, if we just count how much it moves, so here it's going to become -1, and here's going to become -2. So this is going to be -2. So and this is as far as we want to go. Like, we don't want this to transition into -3 because that would not work. So essentially, the maximum index that we want to have before it blocks off the ability to use this, before it blocks off the ability to use this arrow here, is equivalent to the number of elements minus 4 negative. So essentially the negative number of elements plus 4. So that this right here is what we're looking for our implementation. So and this is exclusively for moving the canvas left. So if and then we can get the number of elements, so number E, we can get that from the index plus 1. So if the negative number of max canvas max index plus 1 plus 4 and then if current index is greater than or equal to that, then return end. So this is the condition under which we do not want this, at which we want this ability to move the canvas left to block. So let's go ahead and test that out, and hopefully it'll work. Because logic and reasoning seem to be sound. Attempt to compare number and string. Oh, good lord. Oh, I have accidentally used play canvas index. There we go. Accidentally used the wrong variable there. Whoops. Okay, so index is currently 0, and something went wrong. Okay, so our index is currently 0, so 0 is 0 greater than number of playmax. Oh, I need to invert this, don't I? Yeah, I do. Okay. There we go. Okay. So, looks like we were off by 1 somewhere. Specifically, I think it's this part here. So it's not greater than or equal to, it's literally just greater. So let's try that out. Hey, there we go. Fantastic. Okay, so that's blocked on that side. Now we need to figure out what is causing move canvas right to fail. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know how YouTube screwed up that. Apparently according to my viewers, right now the the dislike button says negative or -1 dislikes, which is not really possible. Okay, and then for move canvas right, this one should be this should be even simpler. So for this, literally, if the index is 0 or greater, then disallow. Yeah, so if current or index is greater than or equal to 0, then return end. It's interesting. I was originally going to use mostly positive play canvas indexes, but I guess we just sort of switched over to negative canvas indexes. Interesting how that happened, even though it was completely unintentional. Okay, so this works. Moving back works. Hey, beautiful. One thing I'm not quite liking about the UI button class, instead of effect max size, I think I'm gonna set this to effect max scale. Can I please just select that? Scale. Yeah, what that'll do is it'll essentially take the largest X or Y value, it'll multiply it by the scale, and that's gonna be its max size. So, local effect max size is going to be math.max is going to take the UI element dot absolute size dot x UI element dot absolute size dot y, and that is going to multiply it by the effect max scale. Calc. Like that. So because it's 2, it's going to only go to up to the biggest size, so either the x or the y. It's going to multiply it by 2, so it's going to be slightly bigger. And we could slightly adjust it. That'll make sure that this button click effect is sort of automatically regulates how large it should be depending on how large the element itself is. I think we need to increase that slightly. Or specifically, we need to increase the scale slightly. So let's go for 3. Oh wow, we're apparently like 3 hours into doing this. Jeez. Yeah, that looks good. We got a nice effect for clicking these buttons. gonna finish up one more final thing before I end off the stream. And if you remember, there was a little white line underneath that underlined the name. So I'm just gonna go ahead and implement that really quickly. So for each template, so if I go to main template, so that was underneath the team title. It was called literally just line. So this is going to be select. So for select, play team button. It's going to be that. For deselect, what we're essentially going to be doing is select dot team title. Or no, we're gonna be using Tween Service for this. Create selection dot team title dot line tween info dot new 0.25 and then size equals udim2 dot new and then this is going to be 0 0 0.030 and we're just going to have that happen. And here similarly we're going to instead make it bigger, so ts create, actually screw it, I'm just going to copy and paste this over. That here of course it's target selection, and here is going to be 0.998. Why that number? I have no idea, but it is what it is. So let's try it out. Oh heck, I completely forgot about a thing. One moment. The thing that I forgot was that this line is, I guess it's visible? What? Okay, never mind. I guess I didn't forget the little thing I wanted to. Why can't I see? Oh, it's because it's the old temp. It's because of the old template, isn't it? So let me just yeet that out of here for a quick sec. Huh. Is that not because of that? What? Oh, alright. I'll definitely take a look at that later. Why is this 0.003? Okay, what if we just set that to 0 and then set it to an arbitrary value, like 2 pixels maybe? Oh, I know why it's doing that. It's because I accidentally, or not accidentally, I forgot that I set the background transparency of that to 0. So now I saw it for like a second. You can't tell me it wasn't there. Yeah, there. I seen it for like a second. What the heck? Okay. Personally, I'm just gonna say I refuse. I'm gonna set that to be like 0.003 is a stupid number. I'm gonna set it to 1 pixel. So let's go ahead and play this. Okay, well, something happened. Oh, I know what happened. I forgot that in my tween thing I set it to be 0.003. There we go. And here for the line, I should need to reset its size to be 0 on the X scale. Hold on a second. What? Oh, intriguing. Okay, let's see what that looks like. So apparently, I thought the lines, you know, uh, the anchor position would be in the middle, but it's apparently on the left. So let's see what that sort of tween looks like. What do you guys think? I think that looks pretty cool. I think it works pretty well too. Oh, except I completely forgot to actually set the timing properly, I think. Yeah, so this is supposed to be 0.05 or 0.5. So let's see what that looks like now. If me playing around with this didn't make it obvious enough, I'm really enjoying this. Yeah, I think we've made some pretty good progress today. Alright, yeah, so this is where I'm gonna probably end up the stream. So yeah, thank you guys for joining me. I hope you learned something new. I hope you enjoyed watching me struggle in internal pain as I try and deal with this UI. Not that the UI is bad, of course, because, you know, scripting UI is a bit of a pain. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something, and I hope to see you guys next time. So long, and thanks for all the fish. I'll probably do some stuff in the background to clean up the code and to actually add the functionality that it's supposed to do. So, yeah, I think that's it for tonight. Bye bye.